Well, Allison Janney,
Yeah,
thank
Chris.
you for joining us today. And you've got two new shows on one's on CBS Mom, and then you've got Masters of Sex, where you've been sort of a recurring guest role there.
Hmm.
Matt, I think, wants to ask you the first question.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Alison. What you've sort of done drama series and TV shows before. You've done some film work, but I guess this is your first sort of commitment to sort of a half-hour traditional audience sitcom. And you've done a bit of theatre work in the past. What made you want to sort of commit to a show where you're sort of performing in front of the audience, but it's still TV?
I think because it seemed like the perfect amalgamation of all the different mediums I've worked in, of the all my years of training on the stage in New York and doing film and then doing single camera television. I thought this is the perfect marriage of everything. I get to perform in front of a live audience, and there's nothing greater than getting that feedback immediately, and it's a lovely it buoys you as an actress. Or when I'm out there and I hear the laugh, I just ride those waves, and it's incredibly exhilarating to play in front of a live audience. And I thought, and it's the schedule is divine, coming from my 18-hour West Wing days, and this is so civilized. It's an incredible schedule that affords me a life outside of work, and I kind of thought that would be nice to have a life outside of work. I've never experienced that before. So, and also just Chuck Lorre, who we've been trying to work together for a while. We had a development deal after West Wing ended, and unfortunately, the show that we came up with together didn't go anywhere. So, and it was funny because I had seen a psychic who said, "You and this man, you're going to have a very long, successful relationship with him." And then when that show didn't get picked up, I was like, "What does she know? I'm never going to a psychic again." And then and then this thing came up, and I was like, "Wow, maybe she really was a psychic." Like, I don't know. I'm thrilled that I get to work with him, and Anna Faris too, who I love her work and as an actress, and I was hoping that she was as nice in person as I thought she would be when I watch her work, and she is, and we have a lovely chemistry together, and I am really gonna stop talking any second now. How long was that? I just went off. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we want. That's why we call it a web chat.
Okay.
This character you're playing of Bonnie, she's a mother, she's a grandmother, but I don't ever recall in your career you playing someone like this. Tell us about how she was shaped.
Well, yeah, Bonnie is not like any most of the other mothers I've played. A little bit like the woman in The Way Back, that Jim's movie I did. Although Bonnie is sober. She's great fun to play because she is one of those women that she doesn't have a lot of boundaries. She doesn't see that she has many faults, if any, and she's obnoxious and narcissistic and tough and funny, and she's enormously fun to play. And I think the writers, as they see how much I love to do physical comedy. And I credit my parents for making me go to ballet classes when I was young to make sure that I stood up straight because I'm so damn tall. And I've always had an awareness of my body, and I like to dance and move. And my father was a jazz musician, and so I grew up with just lots of music and movement around. So I like to. I feel like, Sundance and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance, when he's like shooting, he's like, "Can I move? I'm better if I move." I hope that they give me more physical. I don't know. I think it was last Mondays when Bonnie falls off the wagon and I got tackled 25 times by Octavia Spencer. That was so much fun to do. I mean, I love physical comedy. So I hope that they keep incorporating that into Bonnie's character. I love the way she dresses. I love the way she doesn't want to get old, and she's fighting it. She wants to date younger men, and I love that she's she's putting sex back in on the face of mothers. And let's just say it right here. She is also possibly a great grandmother, with Violet being pregnant, which I'm not sure how I feel about being a great-great-grandmother, but I will do it, and I will make her a sexy great-great-grandmother.
Yes. Allison, so you mean like a great grandmother, not a great grandmother?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
A great grandmother.
Yeah. So Alison, I guess like there is so much physical comedy, and it, like we're used to a lot of these a lot of comedies these days in the past sort of 5-10 years becoming these dramedies that sort of are what the fine line between comedy and drama. But this is a full-fledged, just funny sitcom with plenty of jokes, plenty of physical comedy and stuff. But it does sort of deal with some serious issues like alcoholism, addiction, teenage pregnancy, and things like that. How do you guys sort of walk the line, and how do you sort of approach those serious issues while having so much fun at the same time?
I'm loving that they're pushing us in that direction, because that feels very real to me, as opposed to just a straight on sitcom with bump joke. This is we're dealing with real things, and I think the only way to get through the real tragedies and things that life throws at us is with comedy. And I felt, in the episode where Bonnie falls off the wagon, it felt so real and easy for me to sort of do that monologue where she has the impromptu AA meeting with Octavia's character and Mimi Kennedy, who's so amazing as Marjorie, and she kind of starts telling these sad parts of her life, but also interspersed with jokes about it, which makes it funny, and it's so real, because who doesn't? I mean, I do. When I'm upset about something, I cry, and then I start make a joke at my expense, and I laugh. It just feels really real. And we just did this amazing episode about breast cancer, and we were all worried that it wasn't going to be, how are we going to make this, isn't funny, but we managed to walk that fine line where we had the moments that needed to be serious and sad, and you see that these people care about each other, but it's also like you gotta laugh at this stuff. It's the only way to get through it. And I think that I credit Chuck and Gemma Baker and Eddie Gorodetsky and Nick Bakay are all great writers. And we're finding the balance together, and it's working so far, and I hope we continue to have to deal with these kinds of storylines, because I think it makes it so much better. It elevates the half hour to something real and relatable, and I'm proud of it.
One of our writers, Tony Ruiz, wrote an article last week. He said that you know how the Emmy game is played because you've been in there so many times, but you're going to have to submit an episode next summer if you get nominated. And he said 2 weeks ago's episode, Estrogen and Hearty Breakfast, and I would also throw in this week's episode of Zombies and Cobb Salad. Either one of those would be a home run with those Emmy voters. They would just eat that up.
I wouldn't know which one. I never even on West Wing. I never picked those. I let Tommy Schlamme, one of our producers, that said, "Tommy, I'm in your hands. You pick whichever one you think is best for me, because I don't have any. I'm not good when I can't look at myself and pick. So I wouldn't. What would you think? What do you think I should? Have you seen both of them or not?"
I did. It was really helpful for Tony. I'd seen the first few episodes, and then I had not caught up, so I made sure last night I caught up. I don't know. It would be of course, you could have something even better later on this season, but I might lean more toward this week's, because you've got more of a confessional moment or two, and I think that combination of that, the drama from that, along with the physical comedy with Octavia Spencer, and a lot of laugh out loud moments. I think I would lean more towards this week, but I don't think you could go wrong either way.
Yeah, I do. I really was happy with what I got to do. I'm not sure I'd be happy with seeing the image of me in post wagon look is not a really attractive look for me, and I just seeing that posted all over. But I did love what I got to do in that, and on the emotional depths I got to show in that moment. It was important for Bonnie, and I think people grew. It gives people a chance to care about her more, because she does seem to be so infuriatingly impossible, and you're just like, oh, you want to strangle her. So that was kind of a good moment in her journey and development as a character. You kind of see her, that she's gone through quite a lot of pain in her life, and she was just trying to do the best she could. And But I did love singing "Son of a Preacher Man" in that apron.
Well, lean on Chuck Lorre. I mean, the last, 5, 6 years, he's won Emmys for John Cryer and Jim Parsons and Bob Newhart and Melissa McCarthy, so they know what they're doing.
They do, except for, I think it's time that he won an Emmy. You know?
He's never won one, but he's in the TV Hall of Fame, so that's pretty good.
He will always be, but I know it would be kind of nice for him. I hope for him that he wins one. I don't even know if he cares anymore, but he certainly deserves to, and I hope we win it for him. Nice.
While we're talking Emmys, we've heard word that, Allison, you're planning to submit yourself in the supporting races in upcoming awards for Mum. And just wondering, did you think maybe about Did you think maybe about submitting in the lead category, or do you think supporting was a clear sort of choice for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably talk with Chuck and Anna about it, but I think it would be nice to split us up just so we're not competing with each other for the award. I think that would be, might be better to do it that way. But it was interesting because sorry, I'm getting over a cold. My nose is. West Wing, I was in Best Supporting, and then Tommy came up to me and said, "We want to move you up to Best Actress so that other actresses on the show could have a chance of winning an Emmy." And I said, "Sure, whatever works for you guys, And so I would be. I like it so that maybe both Anna and I could both win. We can't both win if we're in the same category.
Now,
and that paid off for Stock.
Oh, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
And that paid off for Stock Janney, that move.
Right, exactly. She won. Thank you, Stockard. I did that for you. Yeah.
And now on Masters of Sex, you've been on a recurring role, but you've been on several episodes, so we were wondering, has a decision been made there yet whether you'll be supporting or guest actress?
You know what? I just found out that I have not done enough episodes to put me in the Best Supporting Actress category or ensemble in that show. I think the rule is you have to do 7 episodes or something to be eligible for Best Supporting Actress and be part of the ensemble. So unfortunately, I won't be in those. I will be strictly a guest star category in Masters of Sex.
Okay.
And what brought you to do Masters of Sex? Again, a very different show from The West Wing, a very different show from Mum. What made this one jump out at you?
The material, when I read... oh, actually, I'm lying. Hold on a minute. Yeah, because I got a call from Michelle Ashford, the creator of the show. She called me and told me about this woman they were going to be writing and her character, and that she was going to be married to Beau Bridges' character, and she basically laid out the storyline for me of that she has been in this marriage and loves her husband deeply, but at the time in the 50s, it wasn't uncommon for couples to sleep in separate bedrooms, and which they did, and as the story progresses, she wonders why her husband doesn't want to be with her physically at all, and she takes it on herself and feels like there's something wrong with her, or you just feel bad for this woman who can't figure out why her husband doesn't want to be with her, and of course you come to find out that he's gay, and but watching her go through everything she does trying to please him and trying to find out how to make him happy, and that storyline is just heartbreaking, and then when I said yes, I would do it, and we also talked about the fact that I'd have to have sex, and I was like, oh my God. I said, let's just talk about this for a minute, because I'm not 32. I don't think a lot of people want to see a lot of that. So I was like, she said, trust me, we'll make you so comfortable. It is part of the story. It is not gratuitous in any way, but there will be some nudity you will have to do. And when I was like, fortunately, I had made a commitment to myself a year earlier to start really getting in shape, and I started eating better and doing Pilates, and so I feel better about my body than I actually have my whole life, even though I'm older now. But I really felt confident going into it, and I was a little nervous about doing those scenes, but I felt brave and competent, and the story was so strong and powerful that it was easy to commit to it and kind of forget about my own insecurities about what I was showing or not showing, and oh my goodness, I do ramble on, don't I?
Well, I've got to tell you, they sent me the first 6 episodes, Showtime did, back weeks before it started, and I put a message in the forums because I didn't want to give anything away, but I just said, wait till you see Michael Sheen in episode 5, and then wait till you see Allison Janney in episode 6. I said, these could be Emmy-winning kind of episodes. And that one that I'm referring to for you is called Brave New World, and you're just devastating in that episode. What about that one did you like performing?
I'm trying to think, because I'm not familiar with what happens to me in that one.
That's the second time I believe we see you. The first time we see you, I think, is just at a party. The second one is the first episode where you have a whole lot to do, and you go into the doctor's office to volunteer for the experiments.
Yes. Oh my God, that was such an amazing scene to get to play. Now, see, that's a scene that's also funny, but so heartbreaking. That was just to sit there and go in and be, she wants to take part. She finds out in her mahjong game that there's this sex study going on, and she wants to find out what she's been missing, or maybe she'll learn something on how to please her husband, or it's all, and to go in there and sit and have to answer these questions across from Lizzie Kaplan and Michael Sheen, who are basically trying to figure out what her orgasmic response is or whatever, and you realize in that scene that she's never had an orgasm. I think she finds out in that scene that she's never had an orgasm before, and that makes her, it disqualifies her for she's ineligible for the study, and writing that, it was so much fun as an actress to play that scene, because I felt on the verge of just being incredibly embarrassed being there in the first place, because Michael Sheen's character knows my husband. He's the provost of the university, and they know each other, and it's very embarrassing. And then during that time, the 50s, for a woman to talk about her sexuality is just like unheard of. And so she's couldn't be more outside her comfort zone. And then trying to make light of it, like, when she realizes she hasn't had one, and then she just tries to make a joke, like, well, I taught myself Italian, so I'm a very quick study, and I'm sure I can conquer this, right? It's just, I can't tell you how much fun it was to play. It wasn't, and then walking down the hallway and going into the elevator and breaking down, and actually made me cry when I watched it. I'm not usually moved by my own work. I usually don't watch it. I really don't. But maybe just the sadness that is under her. It was heartbreaking to me. Made me cry. Oh my God! Every storyline has some rich scene like that in it for me in this show. The next one after that, the scene with Beau Bridges and the man that he meets at the bar, and I don't find out that he tells me that he gets him women, that this guy gets him prostitutes, which is another lie, and so many beautiful words I get to say, and beautiful scenes. God, it's been extraordinary playing that part. And it's also weird because I did it so long ago. I know they're both on the air right now, but I'm currently doing Mom, so that's the one I feel. But I realize people are watching this, and I shot it at the beginning of the year or in the spring. So it's been in the can for a while, but it's quite exciting to have them both on at the same time. It's kind of a neat. I feel like I'm doing this party trick or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and maybe switching gears to talk a bit about West Wing, which me and Chris are fans of, a show that had a lot of history. And it might not be a huge surprise that you're doing a sitcom and you're doing so well in comedy at the moment, because in The West Wing, the character of CJ had a lot of physical comedy herself, and brought a lot of light to that show. Because we and even Tommy in season 1 submitted for you one of the episodes, because back then you submitted 2 episodes for supporting the episode Celestial Navigation, where you had Woot Canal. That was
is that the one? I wasn't. That's the one he submitted for me. I don't even think I knew that.
I think he submitted. Yeah, well, back then you got two. So he submitted, I think, the Woot Canal episode,
Yeah.
and he also submitted the Lies, Damn Lies and Statistics, where I think you're the only one who's right about the polling that's coming in or something like that.
Yeah.
But what do you think CJ brought to the cast of The West Wing by bringing that very physical comedy, but also sort of the role she plays, one of the only women on the staff and things like that?
You know, I think it was pretty that the part of CJ was it was amazing to have a woman be that. She was so incredibly smart, and playing in this very much man's world in the White House, and holding her own against these men, and yet maintaining her vulnerability and femininity and dorkiness and quirkiness. It was sort of a combo platter of everything you want a woman to be. At least for me. I mean, she's like a hero of mine. I got to play her. I'm such a fucking great role. And that Aaron, let her trip and fall and be goofy. It just makes you fall in love with people when you see their softer, sillier side or their vulnerability, and yet she stands up and she's the voice of the president. She has the president's ear. It was like just a great. I'm proud to have gotten to play her and have inspired. I get so many cards and letters from people like, she inspired me to change my career. I'm now going into public service and I'm so happy. Thank you for inspiring me. And it's like, thank Aaron Sorkin. I thank him for giving me the chance to play her, because she was a pretty great woman. It's a lot to live up to. Unfortunately, when people meet me and they think I'm like her, I'm like, I only look like her and sound like her. I am not able to have an intelligent conversation with you about politics. I don't like politics very much. So that's kind of another conversation.
It's funny we're talking right before Thanksgiving, because every Thanksgiving since I guess 2000, I think about you when I see turkeys on the TV or whatever. So
I tell you, that was one of the funniest days. I really wish that I could see those outtakes, because that was one of the funniest days. I had to act with all the barnyard animals, all of them. I mean, the Thanksgiving turkey, I'd act with those turkeys behind me, and they would poke at me while I was in the middle of the scene. I'd be like, whoa! It was so funny. The barn animals, there were some donkeys, I think. Yeah, they just put CJ with any kind of animals, and it's a funny hilarity ensues.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you won 2 supporting Emmys, and then that third season of the show, as you mentioned earlier, they move you into lead. And we are still talking about this on this website, and believe me, once an Emmy season is over, we generally move on and we don't really think about it anymore. But we're still talking about, how did you win for the Women of Kumar episode in a lead category? Not because you didn't have a great performance, but one of the things about lead is you often have to have a lot of screen time, and you really weren't in that episode much, and you have this one powerful scene. Can you go back to that particular episode and that particular year?
I would just call that my Judi Dench moment.
Yeah, Judi Dench did that at the Oscars. You're right.
Yeah, she was only on for how much, 6 minutes screen time or something. I have no idea. I honestly, maybe it was just the subject matter and the commitment to it that I had. I don't know. I'm so grateful for it though, and everyone was a surprise to me. Literally, I mean, every single Emmy that I won was a complete surprise, and of course the last one I won was the biggest surprise, because I hadn't won the year before, and then I won and really didn't have a speech and kind of embarrassed myself. But that was yeah, I can only say it must have been the subject matter was really moving and compelling, and yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Well, it wasn't. I know, and that's not really a fair question for you. It wasn't based on the performance, which was powerful. It was just usually in lead. Like if you'd still been in supporting, it wouldn't have surprised us at all.
Yeah.
But to move into lead and then win with basically one big scene, it just really, has had us talking all these years.
I love that. I love to keep you talking. I mean, I like that it was a surprise. Like nothing. What's fun if it? It's more fun if you're surprised by nominations. And I mean, everyone. Isn't that? I think that's really fun when people get nominated when you didn't see it coming. Like, wow, that was. I don't know.
Yeah. With the West Wing, you did so well. You won about 4 Screen Actors Guilds, 4 Emmy Awards. You didn't get a Globe. Martin didn't win an Emmy, but he won the Globe. It seems like a bit of a reversal. But the show also did incredibly well. You won the most Emmys that a drama series has ever won at the awards. You won 4 Best Drama Series awards in a row. That's an equal record. What was it like being a part of this TV history as it was being made? It's something that's probably going to have a very long shelf life.
Yeah, I was aware of that being a pretty cool thing to be a part of. This was my first television experience, and as an actress, I wasn't looking to be on television. I think I was out in LA filming American Beauty and Nurse Betty, 2 movies at the same time, and I got a call from my agents to come in and audition for this television show called The West Wing, and I read the script and I heard it was Aaron, and I went in, and then one thing led to another, and there I was doing it. I was moving out here from New York, and then I just remember having so many moments, more moments than I've ever had in my life when I was in the middle of doing something, where I would just, I'd be on my mark waiting for them to set the camera up, and there were so many people around and so much excitement, and I would just be like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. Just having a sense of awareness that it was a pretty cool, special thing I was doing, and it gave me such a great feeling like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was put on this earth to do. It was like I've had a lot of profound moments like that doing that show, and going to Washington and feeling like rock stars, and especially when Clinton was in the office, and going into the White House and going to the correspondence dinner, and it was extraordinary, all the doors that opened up for all of us, and it was amazing, and I was pretty depressed when it was over. I didn't think I was. I kept preparing myself for it when it was going to be over. I had no idea how much I was going to miss it, and also, hey, to start out in first class on television, your first time to hit it that big, and on a show like that, I was like, let's do that again. And then, it's been a while. I had a couple shows that didn't go, and been trying to find something that would fly and that would work. It's hard. I'll never have that again, but I certainly did appreciate it and enjoy it, and knew how special it was, and was surprised by how special it was, because who would have thunk a show about politics, a smart show about politics would fly. I don't know.
One last West Wing question. I've been wondering about this for years. I hope you can shed some light.
Yeah.
That last season, the first episode opens up with all of you in the future at the Bartlett Library.
Yeah.
You're opening up the library, and the last shot shows whoever the future president is, just his foot getting out of the car. It felt like that was going to be maybe the wraparound for the season. Maybe you were going to finish that scene up at the end of the season, but then you had the unfortunate passing of John Spencer there close to Christmas. Did that change something about that, or do you know where they were headed with what that was going to be?
What a lovely idea. That would have been cool if they'd done that. I didn't know what they were planning to do, if anything changed. And I mean, I'm sure it must have, storyline-wise. I'm sure they had to do some scrambling, but I wasn't aware of it, as most actors aren't, unless you're producing as well. And even on Mom, I have no idea where they're going. I've asked. Chuck's always like, "You can ask, but I'm not going to tell you." So I didn't know, but I'm sure that things changed after John's death. We definitely knew as a cast that the show was going to be over, because it didn't make sense to do it without him, and it felt like it was our time to leave.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for today, and good luck with, you got the Golden Globes coming up, you got the SAG Awards coming up, and even though you're not eligible there for Masters, you are for
I'm
Mom,
not.
so we'll see what happens.
That, Chris, thank you. It's been nice talking to you, and this is my first interview like this, and it's very interesting.
They're fun, aren't they?
They're kind of fun. I feel very relaxed
at home or at your office. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I know. There's my brother up there. Wait, there.
There.
And there's a painting my great 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 grandfather did, Frank Hill Smith, and it's crooked. I wish I could just push it up there. This is my dog's room, Addie. This is her bedroom. She has a Tempur-Pedic bed. She watches out over the street right behind me. She's not here. She's on her walk. And that's about all I can show you right now.
You kicked her out for the interview.
Yes, I did. She would be sitting right over there and probably barking at people who go by. Anyway, have a happy Thanksgiving, you guys.
Well, you too. Have a great holiday season, and we'll keep watching.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Allison.